समजलं ना बरोबर विचारतोय ना तुम्ही कुठे मी खाली खाली कोण नाही
You did miss your class. You didn't even come online. Durga, have you completed the classes? Yes. 10 तक भी नहीं हुआ है 10 तक हो गया ना 10 से भी हो गया Do you have any doubts? Huh? I didn't have it. You didn't have it. Did you see what questions you got right and wrong? Completions, no, sorry, sentence completions I got. I don't practice. So what we can do is last yesterday we were discussing only P6, half 4. Yeah. So 6 में rest of them were about sentence completion. Na? Great. Sentence completion questions we haven't finished. So we can discuss the sentence completion questions today. But what of them are there? 7 वाला क्लियर हुआ? Let's check if you want 7 or correct. It's all correct नहीं तो 7 each one are got most correct. So most correct. Maybe not all correct. Did your answers? Yeah, there. Just note down the wrong answers. Parajumble, you got parajumble का तो इसमें CT7 CT6 हाँ CT7 I got 11 wrong. 16 which one should you have? Which 16 was it a particular type or random? Let's check which questions. Okay, so now each test you do, please analyze the questions you are getting wrong. So you will find a pattern. And which are the types of questions you are getting wrong most of the time? Sentence completion. So, and the other vocabulary ones? Vocabulary ones, idioms also. There was this question in which it says that there's a word and cut to the chase with the cut to the chase cut to the chase the point. Get to the point. हाँ उसमें करेक्ट नहीं किया है क्या? नहीं I told them to correct the answers. नहीं तो it's come to the point. Please proceed dance in the audience and how will we know which is the word? Let's say for a question. We want to know which word they're talking. Yeah, that is the problem. What they do is they put the words in. But then we should proceed. But then if you see the sixth question that I wasn't able. Sixth one. Yeah. Okay, that one. That one means 7 PM. And have you looked up the meanings? No. You know, by now you should have had 2 exercise books from our words and meanings. If you were serious enough. Also play by ear means not follow the instruction. Play by ear means you like it's usually is an idiom which is used for music that you don't have something written in front of you, you hear something and play it, but it translates to an idiom in life also. That is, you don't know about something and you use your instincts to go with the go with the flow. So answer question play music by remembering this sound. Yeah, so that is the only option that both starters you can do. So that is what it is to music, but if that is not given and something related to use your instincts, yeah, that will do. Does it practice? He had graduation exam. आज फिर से है? Yeah, 2 days. So पहले भी 2 दिन था. Then again on Thursday I have graduation. Starting with the first one. 31. Okay. Now, if you read the sentence carefully, you will get the idea of what can go in. Look at some keywords that give you an idea. We've identified 4 dash through which managers can view adverse events. Managers can view adverse events. So, lens. But then, see, these are not all literal. These are not literal meanings, they are idiomatic expressions. Oh, yeah. Perspectives. Yeah, see. Now here, 4 perspectives through which managers can view. Yeah, perspective is 4 different perspectives to review or to analyze. But through which you can view the events. Perspective, what do you do with a perspective? Analyze a perspective or think about it. Discuss a perspective. But to view it, this is, you are using the perspective to view the situation. So whenever you think of a word, see whether it fits in or not. If it fits in, fine. If it doesn't, then look for another option. 19 क्या था? 19. I don't know. I also don't know. It is dash to learn of the election commission's think a little, you will figure out what is used how. Not able to. Morning, Shyam. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Go class test 7. The rest of the questions.
Yeah, completed all the test and mock test, ma'am.
Huh? You've done
I have
the
completed every test.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
In class test 7, do you have any doubts? Okay, number 9.
No, ma'am.
Okay, number 19 May, it says it is dash to learn of the election commission's recommendation to political parties that they make only such promises to voters as can be fulfilled. So we are just talking about a recommendation to the political parties that they should make promises which they can fulfill. Don't make promises which you can't fulfill. Yeah. So it is dash to learn. So this is from a voter's perspective, from common man's perspective, right? So A and C can be eliminated. Now between heartening and satisfying. When we use satisfying, something is completed and you are satisfied. Yeah. Right? So do we get a sense here? In either heartening is a negative word, so satisfying. No, heartening is a positive word. Heartening means reassuring or encouraging. Yeah. That way. So it is reassuring that the election commission has done this. Heartening would be better. Yeah. Heartening would be the best. Okay, which what else? 21. So the long passage, right? The sentence is, okay, consumers in China are dashed because the donkey meat doesn't contain enough donkey. Walmart is this week dashed 5 spice donkey meat sold at some outlets in China. After test review, okay, whenever you get to fill in the blanks, context is very important. Good morning. So when you are looking at the context, what do you find? It talks about tests revealed that the product contained the DNA of other animals. So that means the meat wasn't good enough, right? So what would DMart have done or Walmart have done? Remove them from the market? So your options are describe, treated, prepared, and recalled. Describe confidence. Did they describe your 5 spice donkey meat? No. Did they trade it? Walmart this week traded donkey meat sold at some outlets in this sold and trading is the same thing. We're trading today. No? If it said traded for something else, then maybe. But just traded and sold the same. Right? Prepared? Does it fit in? No. What fits in? Recall it. Right? Yes, yesterday we were discussing 7, we haven't finished. So do you have any doubts? We look up your wrong answers. Shyam, look up your wrong answers for 7, past 7.
Yes,
Tell me which answers you got wrong.
ma'am, just a sec. Ma'am, I got 6 wrong.
6 you got wrong. Okay. Yeah, here the alternative problem, the whole sentence has been bolded. The word is laconic. Right, that you figure out. Okay, so the battle ended in victory for the Royal Imperial troops, says the laconic report of success. Ended in victory. Now, if you even look at what is in inverted commas, the battle ended in victory. Does seem exciting? The battle just ended in victory. Or if some troop was victorious, what would you say? They won the battle. Yeah. Now, says the laconic report of success. Short. Yeah, laconic means short, brief, using very few words. Yeah. So now you have to look for the word which is nearly opposite in meaning. Fine, it was lengthy. Lengthy is okay, but like if you use the word laconic, then what would be a better option for the opposite? I think verbose. Strong speech that they can be. Yeah. So verbose is using too many words. Verbose actually is not just speech, but even if you are writing or talking, using too many words. And laconic means using very few words. That's the exact meaning. Yeah. So if it was short, then lengthy would go. But since they have used the word laconic, they would say verbose. Right? In our latest group, 29 word, na? In her latest book, Political Emotion, Why Love Matters for Justice, she makes a case for love. She makes a case. Okay. Right? You make a case for or against something. Yeah, so it would be about. So these prepositional phrases are very important. Yeah, that's why remember we did prepositional phrases separately. Huh? And I have given you a list and I have told you to expand on the list. Yeah. And I told you to read the list given in the text. Volume का खोला है? अभी तक नहीं खोला है? Yes, she has because she hadn't attended the year-long lecture. At least people thought that they know. The prepositional phrases are very important. And that's where you go wrong. Right? So, learning how to use the preposition, which preposition goes with which word, you have to. So, write it down. What all you have to brush up on? Preposition. Right? So, what do they have in you build a list out of it. You have to learn it. Okay, any other question here? Shyam, any other question? In 7? No?
No, no.
Okay, what about 16? You got this right? Question number 16. Did you get it right? Why did you choose old? It's the Okay, eldest and oldest में फर्क ये है कि oldest you can use generally, right? When you're talking about people or things or trains, you can use oldest. In general, that is among a whole group. Now, eldest or elder, eldest you would use when you're talking about a close group. Usually, that is the usage as such. Like no hard and fast rule, but that is a convention of oldest. Yeah, eldest is the only person. So why would eldest be answered? Is the dash inhabitant of the city? We are talking about inhabitant of the city. So, of the city. Like among all the people in the city, he is the oldest. Yeah, so in that case, oldest fits in there. Because it's a general way of saying. If you were to say he is the dash of his family, eldest. Right? When you are a little more specific, you would be using eldest. And elder and older is when you are comparing. Yeah, older than, elder than. Okay, all others are okay? Any problem in worksheet in classes 8? Okay, classes 8, any wrong questions? Shyam? What did you get wrong in classes 8? Check what you got wrong in classes 8. This
Yes,
one,
ma'am. Yes,
one in the end. All one.
Weeks are left, what should we do?
Practice.
Like, what parts?
What parts? What are your weak points?
We analyze
First week you analyze what are your weak points. Yeah? And say comprehension is one which you are still lacking. What is comprehension? both long.
Jipman.
Jipmat will have 2 or 1. Jipmat has been changing the paper pattern every year. Okay. So we don't know the question types also. Okay, tomorrow I will be doing the argument based questions. Critical reasoning, right? Because IPM doesn't have, indoor also has a logical reasoning a little bit. But Jipmat last year gave those questions with comprehension. Pretty comprehensive. So we will do it. Indoor has 6 each.
6 each.
Yeah, 12 questions. 12 questions. So that's why I remember I told you the weightage is quite a bit.
Yeah.
Don't take that lightly.
Jipman said it got time for that.
You don't get time for comprehension. That is right. Comprehension you should always learn. क्योंकि एक पैसेज पढ़ लिया 6 क्वेश्चन आ गए doesn't matter. That's why I said no. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to practice skimming through the passage. Okay, that's why I told you all to read. Reading to one. Now these 2 weeks you have to read. Reading skills is very important. Reading and understanding. Reading fast. Skipping and scanning. That's what we need. Yes or no? General knowledge is there in price, impact, basically symbiosis में है, nursing में है, price में है, IPM में नहीं है. So do you want some practice sample questions of set also? Yeah, I'll prepare a worksheet for the city and the Jipman. Yeah. Does anyone hear you are giving? You are? Okay. Also. You are. Seriously. So you need to subject wise PM. GPM English is compulsory. Other than that, you have to take up a particular, I think, subject we have. Understand me? Yeah.
Economics
Maximum 5. So GK you brush up on GK, no? GK will be vast.
I saw today somebody passed me a paper. There are 40 questions. Okay, take the one say question. GK current affair question in class.
They want to test your general awareness. So whether you know what is going on around the world or you are just stuck to your textbooks. Right? तो उसमें अगर 30%, 50% भी हो गया, right?
If it's possible,
I will do it. But symbiosis I didn't give in because there weren't too many students possible. Who else is using this? Okay, in any problems? Then we move over to some. 8 में 11 okay. I think I'd rather have a salad Rather, I would prefer over. When you say prefer, then you use over. I would rather, then you can say instead of. So regardless of won't go, apart from won't go, over, I would rather have a salad over burger instead of a. Here we have to choose what, correct one or wrong one? Wrong. The river Amazon flew past. Flew means river can't fly. So it would be when river Amazon flows past. Yeah. Lay and lay. Okay. Lay usually is used when you are talking about a person lay. And laid is when you are doing it. He laid out the table. Yeah, the action laid, if you can think of it this way, don't get it more complicated than this. Laid is usually used when inanimate objects are. Non-less. So you laid the table, you laid the tablecloth, you laid the bed sheet. Yeah, and laid is I lay in bed. The dog lay on the road. Ten is okay. 16 your word? No. No. Meetings here, where are the meetings? Okay. Shakespeare's tragedies may have drawn inspiration from the ancient Roman Greece. Yet in Hamlet, Polonius offers dash advice. And the next one is Greece might have saved the Eurozone some grief had it followed Polonius's dash. So if you look at the words given, the first blank words, do you know any of the meanings? Okay. Second blank words are easier to deal with. Yes or no? So in the second blank, if you think of a word of your own, what would it be? Had it followed Polonius's advice? So something related to advice will come in, right? So what is a word which means advice? Caution, counsel, SEL, right? So your answer is C. Even if you don't know the meaning of the other words. But please look up the meanings and write it down. Right? You may come up with a word which in the second blank also you use. Okay, 17 new word? No? Okay. 17 May, why did you get it wrong?
Says it as it is, and it says it has.
There's a archaic language. Okay, one writer who has far more than half a century, for more than half a century, been admired for his steering honesty is George Orwell. Right? So George Orwell is known for his honesty for more than half a century. He is never dash, but he is never rich. So we are looking for contrasts. He is honest. So you begin with something like he is never dishonest or something. Yeah. But he is never dash. So what can we he says it as it is. So he says it as it is. Means he doesn't hide or doesn't mince words. So he's straightforward. So something related to straightforward should come, right? So candid means something casual. So very casual comment. Recondite, do you know the meaning? Not yet. We park it. Arcane. Zero. Lucid and singular.
Someone has used it, someone has not.
Lucid means clear. Water is lucid or somebody's thought of lucid means clear, free fluid. So can free fluid or singular come in? No. So we have eliminated A and D. Yeah? Okay, now between B and C, we know right and unorthodox.
Yeah.
Yeah? So he is never unorthodox. Does it make sense? So go by the process of elimination and becomes easy. You don't have to know the meaning of every word. You can't. Can we know the meaning of every single word in the world? No. We use our brains. Right? So when you come across words you don't know and passages which seem complicated, what do you do? Break it down. Understand the essence. Look for options you can eliminate. Oh yeah. Simplify means don't complicate this. Yeah? If you start complicating things, it will become. So break down, simplify. Shyam, any questions? Yes, Dave? You got all of them right or you didn't do them?
No, ma'am, 3 were wrong, but बाकी सब right था.
Yes, number 20 you've done? Not 20? 21. क्या क्या नाम है देखो. Okay, reporters are dashed to leading color and emotion in stories, right? Hence their temptation to dash to adjectives, but adjectives convert news into news. So what are reporters used to doing, or what is their tendency to do? Would we say loath or averse? No. In this case, loath and averse won't come. When we are talking about they usually do something, they are dashed to lend in color. So, accustomed, would we say accustomed to? Or they tend, when we say they tend to or they like to, want will come in. Yeah? And hence their temptation to what? Resort to adjectives. Resort means you fall back on using something or fall back on doing something. Resort to you, like if you don't know the answer, what you do? You resort to cheating. Resort to cheating.
So you resort.
Okay, if you don't know the answer, you resort to looking up your meaning. Right? So you fall back on something to do a particular task if you're not able to do otherwise. Or like, yeah, usually that is in meaning. So it won't be revert. Result is the only answer. Right? So usually when you get these in the sentence completion questions, you will find you are always able to eliminate on the basis of the context. Okay. Context is important for everything. No matter what question you are doing, even for grammar, context is important. If you miss the context, you won't get it. Right? Okay, you said 21. Okay, so this was the paragraph conclusion. What was the problem here?
It was talking about policy. So the We also talk this time.
See, it says providing benefits for women on maternity leave and children is a societal responsibility which can be funded in a large country through a combination of general taxation and contributory payments from those who have the means. So they're talking about providing benefits for women for maternity leave and children. That is the responsibility of the government. How to fund it? From taxes, right? And contributory payments from those who can do it. Healthcare should be treated as a right and deliveries handled without cost to women. Right? Further, it is talking about, further, what does it say? That healthcare should be treated as a right. And women should not be charged for deliveries. Right? After that, it says such a policy should harmonize the varying maternity benefit provisions found in different laws and govern labor at present. So, should such policies do? So, there are varying maternity benefits and different laws. They want to put them all in such a way that there's a uniform. Okay. So, what can come in there? So, it was talking about the benefits should be given, taxation, rights, and something like what the new policy should do. Right? So, the income guarantees during the pregnancy period can be ensured through a universal social insurance system. So, here we are talking about the income guarantee. So, it's a right. So, income should be guaranteed. There should not be any cost to it. And it's talking about a policy like universal social assurance system could be announced. Right? B says beneficiaries covered by the latest amendment must be protected. Have they talked about the amendment earlier? Right? Must be protected from discrimination through clear provisions. Such a policy would harmonize. Now, this is talking about what it should do, and the last sentence is about if you had a policy, what would it do? So, would be an answer then? Now, C, you have eliminated. Mandating crash facilities to employment workers under the change law is, so again, it's talking about the change law. So, change law should have been mentioned on that. But it says the change law. He says women empowerment can be achieved through universal initiatives, not by imposing conditionalities to avail benefits. It's not talking about conditionalities anymore. The access to welfare support has become even more critical as workers migrate frequently due to economic changes. So is it talking about it anywhere? This is not useful. Is on the answer? Right? Okay, so any other question? You think the worksheets were too long? Or the tests were too long? No? 30 minutes was good enough, no? So, Viva, when are you going to complete? You have to complete today because remember I told you, do one test every day from the rest of them. You have to do it, depending and new. Till अभी till 15 आ गया ना? By the end of the week, you should be completing 15. So that means that's why I said do one every day. Yeah? You completed it then? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so now you do one every day so that you can finish 15 by Friday or Saturday. Friday the full year. Next is on Saturday. Yeah. Sunday को वो But if they open it earlier, you can do it earlier.
On that, that Saturday, away.
They put both so that sir has to figure that out.
Yeah, so
Whether to, because I think they were deciding to it might a little earlier.
sit down, not going to matter.
You will get a notification if when it right? So, yesterday Meenu wasn't there, so. So anything else to discuss here, Meenu? Okay. Um, Now, I have shared some worksheets on the group.
Yes,
Huh?
ma'am, I see. Yes.
We are doing worksheet 22.
Okay, ma'am.
Worksheet 22. You can do right now and then we will discuss. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Download the worksheet and do it.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Now what's the discussion about? Hmm? What happened? Where do you say? Percentile.
Number 7 form.
7 wrong is in.
Yeah. And can you say 10?
Okay. Next test you can do all.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now do this and you have 8 questions only. So 8 questions, how much time?
8
Yes. We begin. I will see you right now. Try to complete. Yeah. So 8 to maximum 10 minutes. Maximum 10 minutes, not more than that. Yeah. Any problem with the question? I can talk about women forum. Present the version of Roman forum. This we're talking. Roman forum would be like their society and their what influenced the youth at that time. Yes. The present day version of the forum is so influenced. Yeah. We left 60. You just finished the first.
The first one somewhere.
Yeah.
We have done stuff. I thought for the characters.
Textbook में था. I put it back in so that you may have forgotten. It's as good as new. Are you done with it? Yeah. Next. Vishnu,
Yes, ma'am.
are you reading every word of the passage? No. So you took the entire time to do one passage.
Started reading.
You went from one to the other and then to the question to the whole.
She took the first passage and then in the time she started reading.
You get your answer.
First one.
First one. So we got the answers to the question, right? So number one. It says the research of the British Professor of Cognitive Neuroimaging has succeeded in establishing that. Has succeeded in establishing.
So what would the research establish?
Yeah. So what is the conclusion?
That the potential for
So the conclusion, what does it talk about the potential? The conclusion panels that the no brain differences can be found that are solely gender related. Right? So D says the potential of the human brain is not directly linked to gender. Right? All of you got D? It would be. Science needs to challenge the status quo. How does that mean? Two, what the British professor found. She urges us to move beyond binary view and instead see this as highly individualized, profoundly adaptable and full of unbounded potential. And her conclusive findings. No brain differences can be found. Yes. So why did you eliminate A? Why did you eliminate A?
mentally is better
There are
than
no differences found as in which are solely generated, but they are not alike. Okay, two. Shyam, what's your answer for one? Question one, what's your answer?
Nice second.
Question one you done?
Yes, ma'am. Second, ma'am.
Second, B, science needs to challenge the status quo. Huh? Was
Ma'am,
what is a British professor succeed in establishing? That is what was our conclusion. Was a conclusion that science needs to challenge the status quo? You will get this in the middle of the passage. Where it says, or conclusion findings. Right? You missed your answer here. B is not the correct answer. Okay, number 2, what's the answer? B. Yeah. By referring to the word as gender, what does it mean? So it is continuing. Society is fixed on gender stereotype because this was in the beginning. It says in this gender, in this gendered world, we continue to live. So what is gendered world? What gendered world? What is the author talking about before that line? It's talking about stereotypes pertaining to male superiority and female submissiveness. That's what it's talking about. Assigned roles were needed as survival measures. Right? That is what is given. So answer will be D. Why would you eliminate A? Gender differences are rejected as not the answer. C says one gender is bound to determine one's ability. That's not the answer. Debate. Debate will never be. Is it talking about a debate not being resolved? It's talking about what gender is. So this gendered word, what gendered word? By referring to the word gender, the writer wants to convey the point. One's gender is bound to determine gender. We continue to know one's gender determines one's skills and preferences. 1 minute. Your question is by referring to the word as gender, the writer wants to convey what? Gender. This particular sentence. In this gender world, we continue. So that is the conclusion that he is getting. And what does it mean by gender? By referring to the word gender, the writer wants to convey that. Okay, he conveys. What does he want to convey? It's not about what is the gender. What does he mean by gender? See. See. Yeah. What does he want to convey? So, what does he want to tell you? So, C will be your answer. B would be the answer if it was what does he mean by gender? Right? Number 3. Dangers in adopting binary views. Binary view. What was the reference to binary view? What's your answer? D. C. D. We can't binary coming in this. She urges us to move beyond a binary view of people's brain and see these as highly individualized, probably adaptable and And then at the end, it talks about what is harmful. Yeah. It is possibly harmful too because it can be used as a route to justify. And say it talks about academics. And most dangerous of course, then boys are not meant to be. Boys are meant to be normal. Okay. So now we can we say C? C says lead to distortion and misinterpretation of scientific data. Is it talking about scientific data? Misinterpretation of scientific data is a danger of viewing it in binary. Do we get that idea? Not really. Yeah. Determined as well as limit academic choices. That will not be, but mostly male dominance. Promote the notion of feminine and masculine traits. Now, if we talk about one of the dangers, okay, one of the dangers means it wants to talk about something specific. Not the general conclusion. So, what of the dangers? Consider the question. Promote notion of feminine and masculine traits is broader. That's broad.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when I talk about one of the dangers, then we will go with what will we go with? B. B also most dangerous of
B or the choice.
okay, it is possibly harmful too. If you look at it in the few lines above, it is possibly harmful too because it can be used as a route to just saying there is no point in girls doing science because they will not have a science game. One off. So it is possibly harmful too. What is the most harmful thing? Then we would have gone with these.
So परिणाम तो पहले बहुत सारा harmful है सर हमको क्या पता है.
So it's a detailed question.
So we are human, how feminine and masculine traits are specific.
But a lot of the time we know it
But
was
he
just
said
done
it's
with maths.
fancy.
We need to recognize. We are talking about the dangers. So is
D to feel moving.
so the dangers are there are two dangers. One is related to taking up science and not. Second is about being emotional. And the last one is the most dangerous of all, that is the conclusion. So according to me, I hope I'm not wrong. But wrong is the B will be determined as well as limit academic choices. Is one of the dangers.
But even we can say, okay, emotion of feminine masculine, because even that is specific, we see. Because when they have
Notion of feminine and masculine traits, if you look at, we are going by the facts given.
so it's given na, okay, voice ka, that voice of being emotional,
Yeah, being emotional is a feminine trait.
yeah,
Promote the notion of feminine and masculine traits. Promote the notion. Are they telling directly? That would be an inference. This is not an inference question. It's a direct question. Right? So it's telling you one of the dangers. So if it is said what is a perceived danger, then we would go with A. Right? So That's what they wanted to see if you can read and understand immediately what is required. Right? So from the question, you have to figure out what are they asking. So if you see what happens is we usually read the question, we read half of it. हाँ? तो हमने क्या देखा? Dangers of the binary view. One of the dangers that is specific. Overall danger, then we can go with A or overall, what is the called drawback? Yeah. Yeah. I think that is always good. This is the from the 2019 paper. And 2019 paper में एक ही passes. So they wanted to make it even more complicated. Those were the COVID years, so shorter. Number 4. C. The writer of this passage wants to emphasize the need to. So this is related to a main idea, yeah? Overall, what does the author want to do? Author's point of view. Writer of the passage wants to emphasize the need to live. So, for the end, we owe to ourselves. See, there are few things that have come up. It says, as a result of these findings,
the answer question भी किया ना तो ढीला और बोला कि हाँ ऐसा है
so what do you think the answer of course would be? It's usually broad, yeah, but we have to base our answer on the facts given, yeah. So as a result of these findings, we owe to ourselves to come to myths and look at ourselves afresh.
these findings
We need to recognize the male brain, female brain related distraction. And based on inaccuracies, and we should have new insights. Accept gender differences. B says accept gender differences. Question the findings of scientific inquiry. Is it questioning the findings?
It doesn't questioning anything, we question ourselves.
We question ourselves. So use new insights provided by scientific research for better understanding of human beings. That can be the answer. Right? Who got the answer? Now you can figure out why the other side is negative. So now can you eliminate? Is it questioning the findings? Or is it talking about what you should think based on the findings? Shyam, what's the answer? Number 4. What did you get the answer to 4? Shyam, can you hear me? What was your answer to question? Question 4 का answer क्या था? Can I see the screen?
Yes, I can see. हाँ, मैं mute हुआ. मैं mute हुआ. हाँ.
What was your answer?
Question. Yeah, what?
Question
Question
four.
3, huh?
That's right. ठीक है मैंने
You
answer
did
है.
it?
Question 3 का समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्वेश्चन आंसर.
Did you do it? Which worksheet are you doing? Please unmute yourself.
मैम जो 1 मिनट मैम नेटवर्क चेंज करो तो.
You haven't done this one? Okay, next passage. Hmm? Next passage. I will also ask you as.
Number 10 marks, 6 and 7 and 8.
The fifth one is what type of question is it? The writer of the passage suggests that. The main idea question. Overall, what is it talking about?
Only sorry, A or B.
B.
So like it's
Durga, what's your answer? B. C. Education. You're talking about education. Earlier times was this. Now, what was it is talking about purpose of education, but purpose of education in early times was to help students to attain. That is only a part of the passage. What does it suggest? And overall, what can you pursue? B. There are similarities in the aims of education in early times and those of today. So what is it talking about? Overall, what is the passage talking about? It began with, okay, let's analyze the passage first. First it talks about from Rome up to Victorian era training. So it is talking about early times, the beginning, right? Meant to help regular young men recognize spurious arguments and facts. So there was a specific purpose to education. And times have changed, but contemporary Italy is determined as youth are prepared, as the ancient counterparts were, to engage meaningfully with the present version of the poem. Okay? And then it goes on to what the Italian schools will teach. How to spot fake news, and then tech giants and Facebook in Israel. University of Haifa is launching a course titled Fake News. Purpose of these courses is to ensure that public debate, particularly during election campaigns, is not hijacked. Then it talks about since the US presidential election, the specter of Russia and its use of online propaganda has loomed large over public discourse in the West. So if you look at the entire passage,
Yes.
what is it talking about? How to be responsible when using these forums. Then in other parts of the world too, doctored images and videos. So this is a part where it's talking about all the problems. Right? Given the speed with which information is shared, online damage is already done by the time a fake story is exposed. Voters of tomorrow certainly need to be armed with the ability to shift their facts from motivated fiction. And then it goes on to effects of social media on information, however, go far beyond fake news. Traditional or legacy media is ordered by a need for balance. traditional legacy media is ordered or this needs or slated for. A newspaper, for example, has sections that deal with politics, crime, metal, that there is at least in principle an amount to tell both sides of the story in each report. So both sides of the story should be there. On social media, only editor is the user herself. Right? So only editor who can figure out what is fake and what is right is yourself. Algorithms ensure that people see more of what they like, and that biases are reinforced. Fake news is certainly a crucial aspect of online propaganda, but for young citizens to form opinions based on multiple viewpoints, they need to consciously seek out more than they are comfortable with. So what is the writer suggesting? Now the options given to you are based on what people need to learn, and they have used the words education. Purpose of education early times were very different from what it is now. Are they talking about that? There are similarities in the aims of education in early times and those of today.
Yes.
Similarities could be, but is it the same?
No.
It's talking about how it has changed nowadays, right? So earlier, see in the first sentence, it was earlier it was meant for privileged young men to recognize students' arguments and facts. Now it is for everybody.
Yes.
It's not only the privileged.
The privilege of
Privileged by the hey. The purpose of education early childhood help students to attain a position of privilege. That is not an answer. As time have changed, basis of education has expanded. So we are talking about changing times. Yeah, how our thinking should change. Yes, Durga?
D would be the answer.
Why D will be the answer?
Earlier it was just privileged math or given the education for advanced and beginners, and now all the people
So now what is the, if you look at the flow of the passage,
What do you mean by base of education and expand?
what is the flow of the passage?
See, first they're talking about some ancient Roman and Victorian era. When they are saying that they used to teach how to identify fake news. Then they
So
are
it
going
was not, it was not about just fake news, it was about recognized arguments and facts,
Yeah.
right? Previous argument. Then it says times have changed. And
No, it
then
doesn't say time has changed.
times have changed, second time, times have changed.
But contemporary education, yeah, same thing.
Contemporary is determined that youth are prepared as the ancient counterpart. This is talking about the Victorian era, Rome, Italy. Then you go on to other parts of the world, in Israel, in US, during the US election, what happened. Yeah. And then at the end, it goes on to, like on the social media, only editor is the user herself. Right? That leads to a main idea. How times have changed and what we should do. And at the end, it is about, but for young citizens to form opinions based on multiple viewpoints, they need to constantly seek out more than they are comfortable with. That is, they need to expand their knowledge. Right? Yes or no? क्या कर रहे? The answer is not this. Answer की नहीं है.
Google पे.
अब उसको छोड़ दो अभी.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the answer according to that? इसमें मैंने डाला नहीं है.
वही सोच के नहीं.
So what is the, we are talking about what does the writer suggest? Right? The writer suggests that times have changed, basis of education has expanded. Then you go on to other parts of the world, in Israel, in US, during the US election, what happened. Yeah. And then at the end, it goes on to, like on the social media, only editor is the user herself. Right? So we are talking about a main idea, we're not talking about a particular point. Okay, 6. B. Passage points out that an important difference between traditional media and social media is that. What is the difference between traditional media and social media? Yeah? Important difference? Sure. This is the next passage. Sorry. So what did you get the answer? You got number 5. We discussed, right? Question 6, what's your answer? What's your answer to question 6? Yes, Shyam? Can you unmute yourself? Please unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Question 6, what's your answer?
I'm just a sec.
You marked something. You written the answer?
No, ma'am. Just a sec.
What were you doing?
I'm doing.
Still doing. Abhi tak. Achha, chalo. What's your answer? B.
I'm very bad in passages.
Will be the answer? Difference between traditional media and social media. Traditional media tries to present different points of view. Just different points of view. Okay, social media reaches more people. You can say that. Social media is more balanced in its reports. Is it balanced? No, it is balanced. Or there's also. It is easier to spread fake stories through traditional media. Easier, maybe. Yeah? Traditional media tries to present different points of view. Is that specific or is it vague? Different points of view. Different points of view to social media. Was it that? Different points of view.
Ma'am, they are asking about the difference. So A.
Difference between traditional media and social media. What difference do you get? So, so we are talking about Facebook. The purpose of these courses is to ensure public debate, political information. Doctored images and blatant lies have been published by news websites. Speed with which information is shared online, the damage is already done. The voters. So overall, what idea do you get about the difference? Traditional or legacy media is ordered by need for balance. So traditional media is more balanced, right? Traditional media is more balanced. Social media is not so balanced. Yeah. So what can we say?
Ma'am, we can say 6 B.
Traditional media is so we can't say D. Social media is more balanced, nahi hai. Social media reaches more people, we can say, and traditional media tries to present different points of view. Yeah, we can say that.
Social
And
media
there is
but main difference.
main difference is traditional media is more balanced, but that is not their way.
No, then it would be it tries to present different views, but
Yeah.
social media does not.
So, like it says, the newspaper has section dealing with politics, crime, and all. There is at least a principle and attempt to tell both sides of the story in each report, right? So this is the
Ma'am, online will be answered.
yeah, because social media reaches more people is not the main difference. So when you look at this part, that what the newspapers do, they are more balanced and they present both sides of the story. So we can say different viewpoints would be an answer, right? So these will be quite debatable, but yes, that's the only answer we have. Okay, so number 7.
7A.
Hmm? Ability to, is dangerous and its ability to influence the opinion of readers. Choice of news items which are presented. Balance is not balanced. Guide, no. Creation of interest, no. A is the only one. Okay, number 8.
Yes, number 7.
7th one. We're talking about social media is dangerous.
They are creating.
It's balanced reporting. Is social media balanced? No. Traditional media is balanced, not social media.
D.
B. Creation of interest by using dubious facts. Dubious facts. Dubious methods, we can say. Right? But can we say, can we conclude that it creates interest by using dubious facts?
Yes, in the past.
It's not true. It may create interest, but how? By using various methods, not just facts.
And the best methods are given then.
Then it would be. Because it's talking about algorithms that show you what you want to see, but not facts. Right? So A is the only one left.
Yes.
It's choice of news items which are presented. Right? It presents something that you want to see. That can be. Number 8.
B.
B. Writer of the passage calls social media the present day version of the Roman Forum because it is a space for okay, would be the hello. Okay, number 8. What is it talking about the forum? Just discussing.
Yes. There's nothing specific, so we can answer.
What does the first sentence give you? Train the youth to recognize spurious arguments and facts.
But that doesn't mean to receive spurious facts or.
One minute. Times have changed, but contemporarily determined that his youth are prepared, as their ancient counterparts were, to engage meaningfully with the present day version of the forum. So what was the earlier forum doing? Yeah.
They were not spreading wrong arguments.
Why were they?
They were. So there were many facts, and also they were helping students understand कि कौन सा गलत है कौन सा correct है.
Yeah. So what was present day version of the forum के साथ? How do you engage? They're training them to meaningfully engage with the present day version of the forum, as in recognizing spurious arguments and facts. Right? Same way. So there's a similarity between the present day social media and the previous forum. Right? So if we keep that in mind, what can be the answer? Is it just discussing ideas?
Yes.
Hmm?
And it was not suggested on my answer B.
Let's answer B.
Yeah. And now
Okay,
in the
let's
first passage also.
1 minute, let's discuss this. The writer of the passage calls social media the present day version of the Roman Forum because it is a space for, it is a space for discussing ideas, and we have to figure out what is right and what is wrong. Right? So it is a space for the बोल रहे हैं, then discussing ideas.
Social media messages that spreading spurious arguments.
There's a danger of spreading spurious arguments, yes. But can we say it is a space for only spreading spurious arguments?
But
It
But
could
the
be.
present version of Roman forum. So the
What did you find the answer to be?
Ma'am, online.
online.
Yeah, see, because if we say spreading spurious arguments, there is a part of it, and the students are being trained to deal with it,
Recognize
to recognize.
Yeah.
So there's a discussion going on, and you have to be able to recognize what is wrong. So that's where the rest of it is also coming up. No?
Discussing
So you have to be your own editor.
Discussing ideas is more broader, right?
Yeah.
You
So writer of the passage calls the
And if
social
you just think about it,
present the
suppose
version of the
there is a-
Roman forum.
there's this value में समझ गए forum. You say कि उधर सिर्फ fake news ये होता है spread होता है.
social media.
Present the version. See, now here we have
fake news spread होता है you are saying.
B can be an answer if it is talking about the dangers.
Social media is dangerous.
Yeah. The writer of the passage calls social media the present day version of the Roman forum if it was because it is a space for what?
Yeah, social
So
media
present day forum, and here it's
Social
talking
media में
about.
सिर्फ fake news होता है.
Okay, if we look at the
Very
second
different.
sentence. Okay, let's read the second sentence again.
is
Times have changed, but contemporary it is determined that its youth are prepared, as the ancient counterparts were, to engage meaningfully with the present day version of the forum. Engage meaningfully with the present day version of the forum means you are able to figure out things. So is the present day is it saying that it presents only fake news? Yeah, so if we take D, the idea would be that it gives us only fake news. Right?
Discussing ideas.
Yeah. So, and later on, when we are talking about traditional media, then it tells you that there is a balance. So we can't say that it is only fake news. Right? So D is very tempting. D is tempting. So that's the idea what we are getting from the discussion. But that's where analysis comes in. Right? So what should we be prepared for? To able to engage properly. So able to take part in the discussion, able to differentiate the good from the bad. So that's what it means to say. Right? So, Shyam, did you get the answers now? Huh?
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
I checked online उसमें answer for second is B.
B. Yeah. I had thought of that when I went to what to say. So if we look at by reference the word as gender, the writer wants to convey that. So what does the writer want to convey? So if we take the first sentence and the second sentence together, society continues to be difficult. I had actually marked B and then we discussed on these 5,000. Logical is, see, now C is not completely incorrect.
is not.
B is not, B is also not
अलग
completely
perspective
incorrect.
है.
Okay, let's read and figure this out again. Okay, 1 minute. See, read C carefully. Read C, every word of it.
One's gender is bound. One.
Bound to, isn't it going into extreme?
Yes.
So what does the author say about this? We continue to live with notions that one's gender determines. So does it mean it bounds to? We have the notion. Yeah, bounds to determine extreme. So B was the correct.
And these also explained, like,
These
you
also
can't be sure that in future.
will never be resolved with extreme.
Extreme.
Yeah. So what were our learnings from your?
But don't think of
Huh?
it.
Maybe we should learn from our mistakes.
Not
No,
necessarily.
Honestly, we have to read the options carefully. Right? Read options carefully. Look at the context carefully. Anything that is extreme, we eliminate. Right? What else?
Third answer B. A.
Third answer.
The answer is there. A.
Promote the notion of, okay, here also, comment as well as limit academic truth. Here also they have put in that extreme case. Yeah? Comment and limit.
It's not extreme.
What does the passage say? It can be used as a hook to justify saying there is no point in girls doing science. Yeah, because they do not have a science brain. Or compelling boys to opt for science. So we can say determine, but is it limiting? It is somewhat. नहीं, इसमें I think B should be there. Okay, where did you look at the answer? Because the different sites actually did give us different answers. Different sites do give us different. Because I have seen if I look up 2 or 3 different sites, answers given are different.
Yes.
The correct answer.
Because at least for the 2022, 23 and 24 papers, I had access to the actual papers. Those my answers same.
Don't ignore. Just kind of give the answer.
Yeah, they'll give you answers and they will give the correct answer.
So for this
2019 का original paper नहीं मिला था, so I don't have access to the actual answers. Clear हो गया? Because I have found the answers of 2 sites at least different from the original answer. So don't always go with that. अपना दिमाग लगा. नहीं, which one?
The
Second one. Okay, second one we got to the conclusion na?
that is
Extreme हो रहा है. It is bound to. We are not talking about bound to anywhere in the passage. Third question we would go with. B. So that is limiting academic choice. You can't do this, you can't do that. Promoting the notion of feminine and masculine is not promoting. It's given just an example that this can be. Right? It's not promoting the person, the traits. Because it says it's harmful. How is it harmful? Now, if you look at this example, if you take the 3 examples, right? In the first example, it says we need to make a female brain development distraction. It is possibly harmful too because it can be used as a hook to justify saying. It is justifying. There is no point in girls doing science because they do not have a science brain. Right? or compelling voice. So you are making them do something, limiting. Yeah? But if you look at the other one, it can also condemn voice for being emotional, and this is seen as a feminine trait. Yeah? So emotional is talking about emotional being a feminine trait. But overall, is it talking about it in general? If you look at the option A, promote the notion of feminine and masculine traits. That is more general. We are talking about one particular specific, this is specific. A is not specific. A is a general conclusion. Are we looking for a general conclusion? No, we are talking about one of the dangers. So we are talking about a specific danger as mentioned in the passage. Yeah. So whenever you come across detailed questions, specific, it should come from directly from the passage. Yeah. Something which can be concluded or inferred, not coming directly will not be a direct. Okay, so we still have a lot of time. And this is definitely. It was not, see, passages will be difficult.
No, passage was not difficult, the answers were given.
The options were confusing.
So that's what they, see, this is not your class 10 exam.
Huh?
10
It's my
standard,
career exam.
10 standard exam नहीं है.
Career exam.
Career exam. Career exam is going to be difficult. It's good. It has to test you on your ability to think.
No, but it cat level का questions थे.
Huh?
Cat level का दिया है sir.
Yeah. IPM is a junior cat. उसको इतने हल्के में नहीं लेगा. Junior person भी है.
हाँ.
Hmm.
I should practice cat level questions.
If you practice tactical questions, you will start thinking in that way.
फिर if we take extra hard, मैंने देखे थे थोड़े practical questions बहुत hard थे, समझ नहीं था.
See, when you reach, now when you reach that level where you are going to appear for CAT, your brain is also a little more mature.
Yes.
It's not your 11th, 12th level की सिर्फ रट्टा मार रहे हैं. Your brain has learned to think and analyze. अभी क्या है, your brain has still not learned to analyze. That's what you have to train your brain for, no? That's the main purpose of doing these questions. Train your brain.
Can you give extra some questions or reading?
You wanna go?
Can I speak to you?
Huh? Okay, Shyam. I've shared another worksheet. Worksheet 23.
Okay, ma'am.
Worksheet 23 शेयर किया है. In terms of members. First one you can do. I think we see. Say comparatively.
Yeah. Comparatively. Now if we do one thing, हाँ, format थोड़ा
ऐसा नहीं है. It math is also tricky. They give you question that seem to be very easy. But there's always a little catch if you miss out on that.
I saw it 2024 Japan finish, right? Because like I got a 5. And then also English. अच्छा ये है हाँ
Japan is easier and skill crap.
नौ तो Japan के एरिया हाँ वो जाया
No, one focus. ये एक passage है. I will give you one.
छोटा है
Please do one passage and then we discuss it. Short passage. 5 minutes से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. Yeah, you passage number 1 in worksheet 23.
Pardon, ma'am.
Worksheet 23, passage number 1.
Okay, ma'am.
Passage.
24 ले रहे हैं
It is first handle what I'm doing.
हाँ
logical and true. So, question number 1. Identity. So the inquiry formulated and compound can't mean logical entry. Right? Okay, number 2. Impact on language. That is quite easy to get to the answer. Okay, 3. The statements are true. RME has written the A is not true. Literary criticism must use B. It says literary criticism does not necessary. So A is eliminated. B says formal and textual are 2 levels of helping understanding. That's true. Critical questions cannot be understood without the philosophy of understanding grammar. What does it say about critical question? Critical statements, understanding grammatical and philosophical issues is a prerequisite to the understanding of critical question. This is a must. Prerequisite means you have to do this to do that. Right? So cannot be understood. Right? D says finally has written in a compact form of sutras. There is a compact form in there. What does it talk? What does the passage say about sutras? Finally, discussing sutras can be. C is not eliminated. D we are not very sure about. Finally, has written in the compact sutras. He has written in sutras, but
only A option doesn't have B, and we know that A is wrong. So B is
Sanskrit has a tradition of. Okay, he says Sanskrit has a tradition of literary criticism for a long time. Have you eliminated it? So B, C, and E are correct. We don't have any option with B, C, and E. We go with D also. So D, we can go. We have to go with D. But we can, because in the passage itself, we cannot. We don't know whether the sutras themselves were compact or not. They haven't said. Yeah. But they said sutras scattered over the entire world. They didn't say sutras were scattered. Themselves were scattered. Right? Sutras had these. So we can conclude that the sutras themselves were compact. Yes. Compactness, they were well organized.
And also, it's given for a long time. It's nowhere mentioned that.
Sanskrit is old, like since ancient times, and it's still studied. Yeah, Parallelis grammar is still studied. Okay, number 4.
C, any direct answer.
C, A, you can eliminate. That is okay, this was easy, short and easy.
Yes.
Okay, so The next passage we will read. You can try to do. That passage there. It's not 10 minutes. 5 minutes में नहीं
हम
चाहिए।
लोग आपके पास
I don't say 10 minutes only. Okay, we'll do one thing. This. What we'll do is we'll pick up one of the that is also important, which 2022 here.
I think go to maths, yeah, but maths not
If you want to do words or do you want to do, excuse me, will do words?
Yes. Sounds
Okay, here are some words. Huh? Proscribe. What does proscribe mean? Huh? So you proscribe is usually related to like something has been prohibited by law or an order has been passed on. It's not just you are telling somebody don't do this. Yeah. Lawfully, that is an order. Say the school has passed an order, has prescribed this. Okay, what's the difference between prescribed and prescribed? Suggestion. Right? Okay, so what are the so we have some synonyms of prescribed? Forbid. All right. Okay, see, we have words disallowed, this is easy, forbid, mix, prohibit, veto, censor. They are barred. Yeah. Censor, we are talking about the word, told me this word earlier also.
Censor and censure.
Censor means?
Censor means
Or like prohibit something to be declared or shown. Like you censor a movie.
Yeah.
Right? Something that is not good, we censor. Censure would be to prohibit by law. mostly bulk. Denigrate can also be related to prescribe. We came across denigrate. Denigrate means to put somebody down. So to restrict somebody, in that sense it can come. Right? Embargo. Embargo means to prevent somebody from doing something.
Embargo.
Yeah, embargo. And you got the word, it would be like, it's more of a
Embarging. I can give a sentence. Embark on a journey. Embark on a journey. Start again. Wow. Yes.
embargo is an official order to stop doing business with another country. It is related to business.
Let's take a picture.
So an official order to stop doing business, it could be between two companies also, but related to business. Yeah.
ये वो business okay.
Official order. Subscribe to also be an official order to stop something, prevent something. Right? Okay, enticing. Enticing. Okay, what I want you to do is tell me whether you have used these words before. You come across enticing. Tempting. Beguiling. Beguiling means something is beguiling means it is luring. That is, you are lured towards it in a negative way. Right? Tempting can be positive or negative. Seductive can be negative. Yeah. Okay. Collaborate we have done. Yeah. Collaborate means no, we had collaborate and collaborate. Collaborate. What is the wrong?
Yes.
So I said the right word would be collaborate.
Giving evidence of your facts.
And collaborate means to work together. To confirm. Alibi. Alibi is given proof of, yeah.
Gives their stance for you.
It stands for, that would be. But it is mostly you collaborate a fact.
It's a part of the evidence.
It is a part of the evidence, but alibi is used in legal terms. Collaborate is used when you are doing a study or research. You are validating your facts or findings that way it can be used. Yeah, equanimous. We come across equanimous. Yes or no? Hello, girls. Equanimous. Not equanimous. Equanimous. Equanimous we come across?
Aquanimous is something related to water.
Yeah. Could be. So equanimous we come across? Calm, composed, contained, control. Synonyms can be poised. Self-possessed can also be equanimous, where you are content with yourself. Yeah? Self-possessed can also be. Ebullient also we come across? Ebullient, sorry.
This can be the acronym of requirements.
Yeah, can be. Because,
Okay.
yeah, full of energy, exuberant, high spirited. All these words you have come across. These were all words that you have done in class.
Yes. Audacious.
Bold.
Bold, risk taker.
Audacious can be used where you can take risk. Risk, remember there was a word.
Bold and
risk
daring.
audacious.
Audacious is more higher degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could also be invulnerable to fear and tribulation. Daring. Or dauntless. Not just brave, but dauntless. That would be audacious. 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 Sorry. Audacious also means audacious. Not held back by convention. So audacious is another thing. So you are absolutely fearless that way. It could also be used in a negative way. Is that now? We do the rest next time. Okay, so now if you have looked at this GPAT 2024 paper, there are some argument-based questions. So we'll do that part of it. Yes. Yes, Shyam?
Yes.